Imagine if you could live or retire early in Florida for the same costs that people are spending in developing countries. Watch the video and you'll see that is absolutely possible. Why? Because we know it is. All right, watch the video. All right, welcome back to our channel, and today we're going to talk about retire early in Florida. Is it possible? Yes, it is. This is amazing to me because I've seen people that moved to, say, places like Ecuador, and were there maybe a short time, a year or two, or whatever it was, 3 years, and then they moved back to Florida. And I can see why. When you take a look at what we're putting together here today, you'll understand why somebody would have done that. Because I made a video a while back ago that said what American expats to Ecuador or anywhere really, even Panama or Mexico or whatever, what they really end up spending the first couple of years when they move. And part of that is because of the way that retiring abroad, moving abroad is done. And the details of that are in that video. But briefly, it's because they spend so much money on putting everything in a container, and then they have to pay all those immigration fees and lawyers' fees, and then there's the airfare. And nowadays you've got cancellations and having to fuss with refunds. And then you've got these, these testing, extra expenses for that. And so, we did the math on that, and the yearly expense for the first couple of years ends up being way higher than people normally think. But even so, people generally do things in a way that they end up spending a lot of money on rent too. I've never really understood. I mean, I know why it happens, but it doesn't make any sense to me when you can get these kinds of rents in the States, and especially in a place like Florida, and then they come abroad to these countries where there's a whole other list of things that you've got to deal with when you do that. And they end up paying the same amounts in rent, Today we're going to look at rents that are between $550 and $800 in a place called Lakeland, Florida, which has temperatures in the 70s in the middle of winter. Okay, so December, January, and February, the temperatures get up there in the low to mid 70s, which is really quite pleasant. And the overnight lows are generally in the 50s. All right, so let's start with this place here with a pool. You see that you can get a, whatever your needs are, 1 to 2 bedrooms, somewhere around 560 to 800 square feet, anywhere between $550 and $663 a month, a place with a pool. Now, when we add up the expenses for living in Florida, I give a range because it depends on if it's 1 or 2 people. But I also like to leave a little bit of room for people to figure out, how they're going to do their expenses. Even though Lakeland is only 30 miles from Tampa Bay, all right, so that if you want to go to the beach, you're really not all that far from it. When it comes to the expense side of that, I'm going to show you some ideas that I have on that. But also what I learned is when we lived in a house with a pool is that even though we were walking distance from a lake, because we had a pool, we tended, even though we had the ability to just walk to the lake or even just ride to the lake, or 5 minutes away, we still did that, but we didn't seem to really do it as much as we thought because we had a pool. It was just really easy with weather, and people like to complain, oh, it's too hot in Florida in summer, but the fact is that we were in the mid-Atlantic, and yes, it's too hot all over the South for 3 or 4 months of the year. But that's the whole idea behind having a pool, is that when it gets too hot, you enjoy the heat by jumping in your pool. And it actually works. The point is that a pool is a form of entertainment, and when it's included in your rent, it's really sweet to have. All right, so let's look at some pictures just to give you an idea what you get here. Obviously, these buildings are on the road. This is the lower end of the rent. And, that's going to make it easier to reach a lot of the amenities in town. And the next place also has a pool, and this one is for between $690 and $750 a month. 1 and 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, anywhere between almost 700 square feet to 800 square feet. So not bad. Nice big huge pool, plenty of room. Looks like it has appliances, 4-burner stove, big fridge, 2-basin sink. Nicely landscaped, peaceful looking place. These places look like they're furnished. Nice big pool. You can see very clean places. This one's not furnished. All right, so big pool, 2 places with a pool, around $550 to $750 a month, around 600 to 800 square feet. This one here is furnished for $740 for a 1 or 2 bedroom. And take a look at the inside. It's got nice furniture in it, and it's got everything in it, and it's got everything you need, even washer and dryer. Pretty nice. All right, and so this shows us that the temperatures, well, that's in Celsius, but generally the low end is 73.4 during the day in December, and then in November it's still, let's see, 26 would be 78. So pretty nice. Now here's Lakeland. It's got a lot of pharmacies, so this, well, you know, if you're from the States, you're not going to have any trouble finding what you need if you get your medicines from pharmacies. And as stated, it's only 30 miles from Tampa. Now, the Lakeland is one of the best places to live in Florida. It's got a dense suburban feel, and most residents own their own homes. And there's a lot of parks there, so it's very enjoyable for walking. So that's a good addition to your low-cost entertainment, is walking around parks and or swimming in the pool. And you know, you can take an excursion and go to Tampa to go to the beach. Here's an interesting thought about that. Here's something, after having been abroad for 10 years, we've really enjoyed living without a car, and in considering retire early, what have you, in a place like Florida, I would absolutely 100% consider how to do it without a car. Now listen, before you scoff at that, if this is good enough for one of the most famous fire gurus in the United States, Mr. Money Mustache, you'll know that he 90% of the time rides a bicycle. I would recommend for those more mature in age to have an electric bicycle that you just plug in and recharge, and would even have a backpack. This is something that I didn't do before in the States because we were so car dependent, and I'm saying that after having been in the state, outside of the States for 10 years, it would be a cinch, since we've been without a car, to just have a thing like an electric bicycle. Now, for those times that you want to be in a car, there's an app here called Ride Connect, where what I like about Ride Connect is the idea there's no cost for it, and people agree on pricing, if any, between themselves. But what I like about it is that it connects neighbors and people that you can talk to and tell about Ride Connect, and then they can get on the app, and then, in other words, you can connect with people within your own area, and you can, people that you can get to know. So it's not necessarily going to be strangers all the time. I want to show you here that those aren't the only opportunities for housing. There's just a whole bunch of opportunities for housing. Look at this. If you don't like apartment living, you can get a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house here for 1,700 square feet for $785. And then there's other houses for $800. So if you want like a larger home, and there's 2 of you, 2 Social Security checks, you would have a fenced yard. Here's one for $715 for 4-bedroom. Just amazing prices, likely in older neighborhoods. Let me show you how the costs pan out. Rent is $550 to $750. You could say $800 if you wanted to take one of those houses. Utilities $200 to $300. Food $300 to $400. These depend on if it's one person or 2 people. I have friends in the States that left Ecuador and are in an apartment, and they say their utilities are only about $100 a month. Now they're probably conservative, but they say their utilities are only $100 a month, and that the food is actually cheaper. Much of the food is actually cheaper in the U.S. than being abroad in Ecuador. Not picking on Ecuador, obviously. If you're comparing to Panama, it's going to be a lot cheaper than Panama too. So food $300 to $400. Transport, I'm saying $50 because of the electric bicycle. That's an amortized price over the life of the bicycle. $600 a year for the bicycle over however long the bicycle lasts. Miscellaneous, I'm always generous with miscellaneous because you can include any number of things there. If you want to split that $150 into medications or herbs or natural herbs or whatever it is, $150 for this, $150 for that, $300. The total would be $1,400 to $1,800 depending on if it's one person or two people. Could you spend more? Sure, you can spend as much as you want. But what I've learned from living abroad is that there are always other options and there are always different ways of doing things, and that's amazing. And I can see why people would live in Florida rather than going abroad and spending the same amount of money to live abroad, right? I know you agree with that.
All right, so why make a video about Retire Early Florida? Because as you know, if you've been on our channel for any length of time, we are king of Retire Early lifestyle. Subscribe and follow us because our information, even though there's a lot of videos about move here, move there, retire there, our perspective is unique and we have a possibility thinker and can-do attitude. And that's how we're able to make videos like Retire Early in Ecuador on $12.56 a month while other people end up spending $30,000 a year. And they do that because they spend so much money doing the way they do things. And so if we were going to retire early lifestyle in Florida, this is what we would do. We would go to Lakeland and this is how we would do it. And it's amazing because we present you today in the video an actual plan on how to do it and what it would look like. And of course, everyone's lifestyle is a little bit different, so there are a little bit of variables. And that's why we give a range, because we understand that there are variables. If you can get lucky like we do and do things the way we do them and accidentally run into good deals like we do, then you can make it happen too.